Year 1 and welcome to this week's Spelling Splash. Now Trixie has got 3 more words for you to practice this week. She's been so impressed with all of the words we've been learning. She's going to make it a tiny bit trickier for us this week. So she's got 3 new words. Let's see which one she brings us. Thank you, Trixie. And this is going to be your last spelling test before we break up for Christmas. So you've only got this one to do, and we're going to see if we can really trick Trixie. But oh, she's rubbing her hands together. She thinks that she has got you this time. She thinks that these are too hard for us to spell. So let's have a little look and see if we can prove her wrong. Now, the first tricky word we're going to have a look at is one. My turn, your turn. One. One. Well done. Now this is the number 1, or Miss Close is allowed 1 sweetie. And if we have a look at it, it starts with an O, O, O. It starts with an O. And if I sound it out, I'm not going to get the right spelling. One. Sounds like it should start with a W, W, W. So we've got to remember this super tricky one today. And we're going to find some silly phrases to help us practice in a moment. The next word, told you they were getting trickier, is going to be one that we've been looking at in our writing lessons lots and lots. So you're going to be pretty good at this, but let's see that we don't get tricked out. We're going to have a second practice. Was. My turn, your turn. Was. Was. Well done, Year 1. Now, if we were to sound out was, we would get w, o, z. And that's not how it looks at all. That's not how we spell it. So it almost looks like we need to say was. So we've got to remember this tricky bit in the middle is an a, not an o. And we've got a slither around the snake at the end and not a z. Okay, so we've got one, was. Let's look for our last one. Now, this is one that we use all the time in our writing, but we've just got to make sure we spell it right every time. My turn, your turn. The. Well done. Now, sometimes we're a bit lazy when we say the word, and it could be the, and you start to get a v sound. So we've got to remember that we stick out our tongue, the. And we're going to see if we can make sure that we've got our special friends and then our cheeky at the end. Okay, there are our 3 spellings that we're going to try this week. One, as in the number 1, was, and the. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen with you, and we're going to see if we can have a sneaky look at some of Miss Close's silly phrases. So let's have a look at the very first one for us. We have got the word the. And as it is coming up to Christmas, I have got a very tiny, hairy elf. So if we have a look in the corner here, I've got a tiny, hairy elf. So I'm taking the t from tiny, from hairy, and the from elf. So I'm going to remember to spell the word the by remembering tiny, hairy, elf. Okay, let's have a look at our next spelling, which is the number 1. And I've gone for a very, very funny looking elephant down here because I've got an elephant who has got an orange nose. Have a little look. So I've got the phrase orange-nosed elephant. Orange-nosed elephant. So I've got my O for orange, N for nosed, and E for elephant. Orange-nosed elephant. That's a bit of a funny one. Let's have a look at our final one, which is another silly phrase because we have got the word was, and we're not going to spell it with an O or a Z. So we're going to remember this phrase down here. We've got a whale and a snail. So we're going to remember whales and snails. Whales, and snails. Whales and snails. Okay, now, just like we do together in every Spelling Splash video, we're going to have a go at practicing them. So make sure that you have got a pencil or a pen, you've got your notebook or a piece of paper, and your brains are ready and switched on, and you have to be sat up at a table sitting on a chair. So if you need to pause the video, make sure you've got all those things in front of you and you're sat beautifully, and then we can begin. Okay, let's go for it then, year one. We're going to start with the word one. Orange nosed elephant. Let's have a go. One. Orange nosed elephant. Now, year one, we've got to make sure that our writing is all the same size for the word one. So I've got all of my letters exactly the same size using my yellow lines. Orange nosed elephant. Now, if you need to check yours, you might need to do some fixing. And if it does look brilliant, give yourself a tick. Just check, have you got your down knobby and over your net when you've been doing your handwriting? Give yourselves a double tick if you remember that one. Well done, year one. Let's go for the next one. We're going to go for was, whales and snails. Write it down. Was, whales and snails. Now, just like number one, they all have to be the same size, these letters. Let's have a look. Good job. Let's have a look at mine. I've gone for whales and snails, and all of my letters are the same size. Great job. If you need to give yourself a tick, make sure you do. If you need to do some fixing, have a little look now. Okay then, let's go for the last one. Now, when we write this word, there are two tall letters, two ascenders. Let's have a look. The. Tiny, hairy, elf. Write it down. Tiny, hairy, elf. Now make sure those two letters are nice and tall. And show me. Well done, year one. You've got to make sure that we've got our tall t and h, and then my e is smaller than all the other letters. Tiny, hairy, elf. Great job, guys. Well done. Now you can keep practicing all week long because we're going to have our spelling test next Friday. Now, before we do that, let's see if you can find out where Miss Close has done a really good job or where she might need a little bit of improvement, because I have put my words into some sentences. And remember, when I've used my sentences, I've got to have a capital letter and a full stop, and I've got to make sure I spell these three words right. So let's have a look. Miss Close has gone for Sam played in the snow. The? What am I trying to say there? Sam played in the tiny, hairy elf. So Miss Close needs to make sure she spells her tricky word right if she's putting it in a sentence. Did I use a full stop? Yes. Did I use capital letter? Phew. Okay, let's have a look at this next one. Kim had one yummy sweet. Now, you might have seen this word before, won, but that means I won a race. It doesn't mean I was allowed one sweet. So Miss Close has used the wrong spelling there. I need my orange-nosed elephant. So I need to make sure that I don't sound it out and I remember my silly phrase. So Miss Close, she spelled that one wrong as well. Now, let's have a look at the last sentence. It says, Fred was excited for Christmas. Now, I've used the capital letter there, and that's because Christmas is a name. It's a name of an event, not sound out the word was. Make it a good one and see if you can do and those three spellings. And Trixie will be back to see if you can do your spelling test next Friday. See you soon, everyone. Bye-bye.